Well, hello, Sagittarius. I hope you guys are doing amazing. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We're going to tap into your energy. Thank God, Spirit, Universe, as well as your spiritual team, your ancestors, your deceased loved ones, your angels, your guardian angels, all above. Thank you so much for showing up for Sagittarius today. Of course, take what resonates in one ear and out the other if it doesn't seem to fit your journey line, storyline, or lifeline. Either way, got what it is today for the Sagittarius. What is it today for the Sagittarius? Hope you guys are having a beautiful day nonetheless. Hope you guys have a great Saturday and Sunday, and hope something special happens for you. Interesting. This is interesting. Ha! There it is. Whoop! There it is. Okay, you guys are very successful individuals, or you got some victories you've been hitting, right? Like you've been reaching victories, okay? Let me move that a little bit so you have the full camera range. So, victory, Six of Candles, Leo's energy, right? You've been literally successful, being recognized. I don't know. Some of you could have like increased in your followers, or maybe your views have went up if you guys are like an entrepreneur or something like that, or maybe there's been things at work you've been just kind of really connecting with people on a whole new level, or maybe things outside of work that maybe you're at home or just out in social life, you know what I mean? Like you go out and you're just very connecting and get recognized, the things you say. You just really know how to compliment the energy. It's not really like you're trying to compliment others or accept or like receive compliments. It's more or less you're complimenting the entire vibe that you're in, you know what I mean? And this is actually being recognized, this being seen. Like somebody's very jealous of you, though. They don't like that. Now, for some of you, you could be a female. You're a feminine. You're just an energy who attracts energies from afar. You just know how to be kind. You're not trying to flirt with people, but it could come across as looking like that for some, but you're not. You're just being friendly. You're just being your genuine self. Like, you know where your boundaries are. You know when somebody crosses the line. You know how you'll act if somebody does. And in all reality, you haven't maybe seen somebody cross the line, or you haven't necessarily looked for somebody, like, say that you are in a relationship, other specific opposite sexes around you, and you're just communicating, having conversations that maybe are a little bit deeper than the ones you have with your own partner, right? But maybe it's just because it came out of nowhere. This is just something you're really knowledgeable about, whatever subject, right? And you just keep really going in it because it's something you are fueled by. There's just this energy that is very jealous. It's a very emotional, like they lack emotional intelligence, and it's a kind of an inconvenience, because it's like you have this really hyper loving, happy vibe about you, and this energy just seems to, maybe that's why they're around you, and maybe they're like an energetic vampire because they suck that from you, because they don't like when you do it to other people or give it to other people. It's almost like they have a hard time sharing. I have the King of Potions in the reversal. We are using the Nightmare Before Christmas tarot deck, so it's just more appropriate because of Halloween, right? Yeah, the King of Cups is in the reverse, so it could be something about drinking too. Somebody could be instead of actually facing their problems, they drink away their problems, or they just, to numb away the pain in a sense. That's kind of what I'm feeling. Could be a Libra or a Scorpio, also an Aquarius with the Seven of Needles. That's where I'm getting that jealous energy, that somebody notices how much recognition you get, how important your vibe is, not just to this person, but, to others. And it's almost really hard for them to fathom, that you're able to give this much love and energy and vibration to others, and also still give that to them. It's almost like they just want you all to themselves, right? Obviously, this individual is very clingy, and they could have a little bit of that possessive energy, or possession, like they think you're a possession, but that's because they have a lot of emotional healing to do, that they've been trying to not face and whatnot. This person can be a really wonderful person if they were to go within, feel things, to heal them, to understand them deeper, to bring themselves into a balance and find their own center and stuff like that. But there's been a lot of distractions and a lot of comfort zones that this person has found themselves in, because it makes them not have to face the harder part, it seems, because they've made their mind believe that it is hard to face these things, because it's conditioned to make them feel like anything that is unknown is scary or fearful. But that's all just a condition, and it's not true, because really the unknown is actually what's meant for us all, and it's all meant for us to have faith and trust in whatever it is that God has planned for us. But this individual has that feeling of like they're out of control because they don't have control of self. They are out of control, like maybe not in a sense of like psycho or whatever, but no, like they don't have control of themselves, so there is no control over them, so they are out of control. with the way that they handle or go about things, the way that they react, the way that they maybe argue or get all emotionally like chaotic. Okay, you know, because you can see when people are very healed in a sense, or they're working on their healing with emotions. Because if you see somebody act emotionally and say they're just like going absolutely insane, screaming at the top of their lungs, and all this stuff, because in a sense we're all meant to do this. This is all part of a human journey. We're all meant to actually find out like our bottom of the barrel, and when we're angry or upset, or when we get, you know, really pissed off, we are supposed to see that limit. We're supposed to see how far it reaches, because that's how we find our center. You know, we're happy, we're supposed to really see how happy we truly can get and how excited we can get. If we're sad, same thing, right? We're supposed to find the middle ground of all of these energies for ourselves, because somebody else's anger, somebody else's sadness, somebody else's happiness is all going to be on a different level than yours and a different scale than yours. So the scales we're not all the same. None of us are the same. And I think it's so crazy how people really just kind of assume we're all the same. No, we are not. And so therefore we all have our own levels of things, and that being the case, when we really identify those within ourselves, we have that control over ourselves, because we know what will send us into rage, what will send us into full sadness and breakdown, what will send us into full excitement. We know what those energies will bring us when we focus on those energies within ourselves, right? So that's how we know where our middle ground is, because if our level is right here, because our anger, you know, reaches only so high, but our sadness goes really low, we'd have a little bit of a lower like bar, you know what I mean, in a sense, like where it would be located for your balance. Everybody's got a different one, so nobody's the same. But that's why it's always important for people to actually have reactions so that they can understand themselves. That's the point of wisdom, experience, learning. But either way, you can see when people are reacting because they just want to react, okay? Or when they're responding to what had happened and made them feel some way. Instead of like overreacting to something, they're responding with courtesy, but also it's not just the whole point is courtesy for themselves as well as courtesy for others. They want to treat others how they want to be treated. So when you are emotionally healing and you are in the process of, you know, allowing that healing to overcome you emotionally, especially, you know, you are going to respond in a more mature, you know, understanding way. So instead of it's okay if you're only explaining how you would understand, because at one day maybe those people will get the hint, but it's more or less you're not trying to prove to other people anymore. When you're emotionally responding instead of emotionally reacting, you're not trying to prove it to them. You don't need their validation, you don't need their understanding, because you already understand it yourself, because you already validate yourself, because you're already strong within yourself. You know, and this is something that you can actually discern between people. You'll see when people really just want to react to get people to really be on their side, or to just keep explaining over and over and over and over, because they feel bad themselves inside. They feel bad maybe for the way they are reacting, because they haven't went within and actually validated themselves. So they don't have that security of themselves. They don't have control of that. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So this is the energy you guys are dealing with right now. Okay, whatever you do, don't stop doing what you do, because your vibration is healing. And anytime you connect with people, those people you're connecting with, you're meant to connect with. God would not place people in our past that we're not meant to connect with, or have some kind of, you know, like real quick connect, bond, whatever. It doesn't matter. There's people that have been, you know, in your life and out of your life like that, right? The snap of a finger. You go to the grocery store, a random person says hi, says something about your hair, something about your clothes, like whatever, you know, something about your makeup, something about your children if you're with your children, you know what I mean? Like there's something, you have a little connection out of just maybe even in the line with somebody at the store, whatever. You know, just and they, as quick as they come is as quick as they go, but there's something there, and there was something that was needed in between the two of you at that very point of meeting. And God allows this to be the case for our not, and sometimes it doesn't even benefit you, it's for the other person, or sometimes it's actually meant to benefit you and not even the other person, because that's just the way it works, and sometimes it benefits the both. But in all reality, This is you living your life being aligned with what God has assigned, you know? And there's this energy, like I said, it could be your boyfriend, could be your fiance, it could be your partner, it could be, even if you're a masculine yourself, it could be other masculines. Like if you are like a male and you have male friends and you guys go out places and you always seem to get recognized for something. I don't know, you could be in a group of something, like there's a lot of like dirt bike groups and ATVs and side by side and stuff like that, or there, you know, it could be sports, it could be something else, whatever, it could be going to the bar, whatever, it could be even car groups, you know, because there's a lot of that out there. Like, but there's, you always get the recognition, you always get whatever, and there's other figures that are like envious of that because they're lacking emotional intelligence, in the sense, like, you know, a real friend, somebody who's actually really healed in that sense, would actually really be happy that you'd get the recognition because you deserve it. You know what I mean? Like, they'd be like, no, you deserve it, dude. Like, that's, you deserve that. And that's how you would recognize and use your discernment of knowing when people are healed or versus not. You know what I mean? Some people are like, I just can't believe you get that attention, or like, it just doesn't make any sense to me, man. Like, that's really unhealed. It's coming from a place of a reflection of how they feel about themselves, because that's why they don't get it. That's why they don't get that recognition. You know what I mean? Because they feel they're attracting the energy that is that jealous energy, that envious energy, that unfulfilled energy, that unhealed energy. You know, you see what I'm saying? That's what's going on here. The King of Candles, you know what, that could be, that's the whole point of what you really show up as. You're confident, you dare to be different, you don't have to be the same, you don't have to fit into a category. And that's something that people look at you, and a lot of that unknown and that fear, that whatever we were talking about earlier. Okay, so they think you are a mystery, right? And mysteries are really intriguing to a lot of people, and it sets that off in their brain. And when people are healed with that mystery and that intrigued energy, they usually like to take that as an example and kind of follow that lead, and then find the way to lead themselves to do the same thing and keep doing the same thing. But if you've come from an unhealed version, somebody's seeing you and they're intrigued by your mystery, but then they start to pick apart pieces. Okay, well, I don't see how that could be the case, because look at this and look at their relationship, or look at that, or look at this, or they start pull things apart from the whole situation, because they want to lessen it to the overall understanding that they have of it, because they can't understand the entire picture. They can only see a piece of it, and that piece, you know, so they pick apart the whole thing to just go back to that one little version, that one little piece that they see you in. That's how they see you, your friend, your partner, whatever. And so you're not bigger than them. The truth is, nobody's bigger than anybody, nobody's smaller than anybody. It's all about the mindset and how you perceive yourself. That's why it's so important to love yourself, validate yourself, and not let other people, anybody's opinion, affect how you feel about yourself, because everybody's got an opinion. They are like ASS holes. Okay, everyone's got one, right? But that's the point. You're allowed to have an opinion. You're allowed to say what you want to say. You have the ability to say what you want to say, but it does not have to affect me in any way. You see what I'm saying? And that's what that King of Candles, King of Wands is. That's a Leo and a Cancer energy, by the way, too. The Ace of Pentacles is in the reversal. It would be the Ace of Presents in this, by the way. Oh, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. You got the Two of Potions in there. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, some kind of relationship. There's too much scarcity, all right? There's too much ungrounded feelings. And that really does cause confrontation and a little bit of static in the relationship with whoever this is that's a little jealous of you, or whoever it is that's trying to pick apart every single thing that somebody else recognizes you for, because they don't like to see you as bigger than them, and they want to bring you back to their own level, their own small, you know, version of how they see themselves, to make everybody else small too, like them. But that's the thing, is it's all in their mind, and it's not even real. It's not even real. It's all them being conditioned and having limited belief systems to think that's real, but that's not. You know, it's crazy that everything we were taught to be real is really fake, and everything that we were taught to be fake is really real. They did it on purpose, but either way, This is this energy telling me that this person might end up, you may not have a new beginning with this person. You may have to cut this person off because this person's just so jealous. And I don't know, and maybe you actually cutting them off will help them understand their lesson. And you're no longer giving your protective, loving, divine energy to them, right? Which is no longer enabling them. So they have no other choice but to face some of their lessons. It might be scary for them. And I do feel like because of this situation, that may end up being that we're going to break up, we're not going to be together, or we're not going to be friends no more, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. This person is going to eventually come back around, and they're going to try to like mend the peace, or you know what I mean, like bring more peace back into the. But this is really because they realize, just in a few short, maybe days or months without you, they realize that the things that they were receiving before, the protection that they were getting, is no longer, and they're going to recognize that happened when you had cut the cord. So of course they're going to try to come back and plead, oh please, let's be friends, please. That's because that's how it works out. It seems to be the case for a lot of things. I do see that happening. So, I mean, you obviously know your boundaries. You would know whether to decide to say yes or no. And it is up to you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I have all the trust that you know what you're doing. I do. I have trust that you know what you're up to. You're in alignment with who you are. You're a beautiful person. You bring love, joy, and compassion to all kinds of individuals across all the places and environments you go. You smile at little kids. That makes them feel good. You smile at older people, it makes them feel good, that makes them feel recognized. You look at people in the eyes, and you don't have to say anything, because words are just words, but the energy you exchange, that's the improving energy, that's the benefit, that's you complimenting the vibe. I'm serious. You got Leo, Cancer. Again, that'd be that King of Wands. Because you need to be you. You need to be bold. You need to be your daring, different self. You need to be in control of yourself. You need to have that confidence in who you are. That's what's going to probably end up separating the energy and make it so that there's no real true new beginning that can happen with this person. But it says to assert yourself with that energy. The Knight of Swords is even on the bottom. And it's good to see that. That's the Knight of Needles. Needles of Swords in this deck. Taurus and Gemini, but that's telling me that you guys are very much so going to feel a lot more freer. When you do cut this cord, you're going to have like this weight lifted off your shoulders that you didn't even know you were carrying. Like you didn't even feel the weight because you're so strong in the first place. But when you do cut it, you're going to feel a lot more freer. You're going to feel a lot more energy. You're going to feel a lot more like a sense of boost, which is going to give you energy to take action and move quickly. Like it's almost like if you were carrying, going on a hiking trip, and it was maybe a 2-day hiking trip, and you were carrying a bunch of stuff in the beginning, but say it's like halfway through the hiking trip, so you've already eaten, a little bit of your portions of food, you're drinking some of that water, so it's already kind of lightened the load, you know what I mean? That's the kind of feeling, like now you only have so much to go, and you have a lighter load to go, and you're going to feel quicker with it. That's the energy I'm getting, okay? Let's get a oracle. Something about springtime is going to be a specific time for you guys. Spring cleaning. But right now is the time to cleanse your house, your space, your mind, your heart, your soul, and your body, and make room for brand new growth to take place. So when you do make room by cutting the cords, you remove this individual energy from your space. So in your space, this person was taking up too much, right? They move out of it. Now you have all this space for new things to come in. Okay, does that make sense? That's the energy I'm feeling for you. I hope that this helped you in any way it could, Sagittarius, and have a beautiful rest of your day.